Okay, call this meeting to order. This meeting, all other meetings of this council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so the citizen may be aware of time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Roll call.
Nadowski?
Here.
Gunderson?
Here.
Appleby?
Here.
Rasmussen?
Here.
Brenner and Kemp are not present.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance led by Keith.
Pledge allegiance to
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Do we have to make a note of that number 6 on Public Works, slight change for the Elders piece?
We will, I've got a couple notes actually. Number 6,
So we'll just hit that.
6A, number 6. It's on the sewer rates. There was a motion on the volumetric rate. John Cameron from Ellers will be joining us on the phone. He's going to explain that there was a little bit more than just the volumetric rate that they're recommending to cover the interim debt financing for next year. Has to do with the fixed rates too. That one, we're looking at probably about 7:15 for phone call with him. So if we want to keep an eye on that. The other two notes I have are that you do have two guests here. One is related to the conditional use permit for Weyauwega Motors. That's 6G number 1, which is pretty low on the agenda. If you'd like to move that up, it's up to you. The other one then would be 7A, which is to review the operator license for Brian, is it Jens?
Yep.
And there are two here to speak before you on that too. So if you'd like to entertain moving any of them up, there's a lot of items tonight. It's up to you guys if you'd like to do that. Usually if you wanted to move it up, you'd probably put it after number 5, after citizen appearances.
Okay, so we'll move 7 up right after 5 instead of skip 6.
Okay, so 7A will be up. 7A will be up to after 5A.
Yeah. Right.
And then you have the conditional use, then 2 is 6G number 1. You wanna move that one after 7A?
Yeah.
Yep, let's do that.
In the minutes, they'll still be in the order, they're on the agenda, but you know, we got the video that we can refer back to.
Right, well, with those, I guess, changes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda with changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now I approve the minutes of the regular common council meeting on November 16th and the special on December 2nd.
Make a
We all
motion.
look at the minutes, the meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion made
I'll second.
and seconded to approve the minutes of the past meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Down to number 5. Frank, you got floor.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for Jared's help the other day at the library. And one of the things that he discovered at the library, that we had a little vandalism, we think. Somebody decided they should steal that front cap off of that tall light that we have out in front. So that's gone. But because of it, the lights didn't work. Well, they got burned out because of rain and what have you. And Jared put new light bulbs in. 2 days later, we ended up with a short because there was no cover or anything on there. And we ended up with water in those little decorative lights, which I've never seen before. Anyhow, I put a wooden plaque on there, and we're going to probably change that in the spring rather than try anything right now. They not only took the top, but they broke the glass all the way around, so I haven't quite figured that one out yet. The other thing is that through, I think, diligent budgeting this year, we were able to have enough money that we did order the 2 air conditioners, and they will be going in, and we won't have to come for any extra money whatsoever. We're covered all the way around. So unless there's any unexpected expense that we're not seeing right now, she projected all the way through the end of December, and I think we're okay. So the order will be going in yet hopefully this week so that we pay out of this year's budget, and we will have them installed as soon as the ground is ready in the spring. And we're going all above ground wiring and that, so we have no more water problems in that basement. So that's all being taken care of. Any questions that you have for me? If not,
No.
thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Frank.
you, Frank, doing a good job. Okay, now I'll move to section 7A, new business. Part A is review operator license application for Brian Ben's Weyauwega Travel Plaza.
You do have application in the packet. There were also a couple of letters that were submitted on Brian's behalf. One was from Lisa and Dan at OCS, and the other is from Pastor, got the last name here.
Singer.
Okay.
Exactly what page are those on?
You look at 7A, it'll be part 2, so your packets online are in 2 parts.
Oh, it's on the other page.
Yeah, and the second one is smaller.
There we go.
It's on like 18 or 35. If you get the PDF pages as it hits the bottom there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Any discussion on this?
The one thing that I can put in there, maybe to kick off your discussion a little bit, is on the applications, typically we have the police department review them according to, in the ordinance, certain set of standards. Based off of the ordinances and the guidelines that they're given, they get to make a recommendation then, approve or deny. With those recommendations, typically it's pretty black and white for the police chief. And when he reviewed, according to city ordinance, he had made a recommendation to deny the operator's license. But it comes to the city council because there's a little bit more, I guess, range that you get. Basically, this is a permit that's being requested for you to consider and then either approve or deny. And like I said, there are 2 citizens here that, if you'd be willing to let them speak, I'm sure they would probably be willing to do that.
You got the floor, whoever, one of you.
I am Brian Johnson, the applicant, and I understand, the police chief's concerns. There is a pretty jaded past that I do have with, multiple violations of the law. However, there is no serving violations on that, and life has changed for me. I've turned over a new leaf, and I did all those things in the past, but I'm not that same person that I once was. And with going down the path that I've gone down and the choices that I made in the past life, if you will, I definitely understand the repercussions that alcohol getting into, the wrong hands or a youth's hands, can wreak in a life, and then the lifelong choices that can come from that. So that will definitely be, something we'll be avoiding at the stores, whether I get the application approval to serve or to not. That OCS will still be upholding, the letter of the law, and anybody under the age of 30 or appearing to be under the age of 30 will be getting carded there for alcohol sales. So I just appreciate your time and the consideration for the application to be approval, because like I said, it is, like you had said, Pat, that it is pretty cut and, black or white usually, and I know I fall definitely under the deny category. Like I said, but however, all I can come before you and tell you is I'm not that person anymore today, and that life has changed for me. So I just thank you for your time and your consideration.
Can I ask you, is this, does you having a job depend on this?
Does me
I mean, if
having-
the license are denied, you will not have a job?
No, honestly, no.
Okay.
It would definitely further my availability to the company and the aspect or scope that I can work in for the company, but it would not permanently or terminate my employment.
Okay. You got something you want to say?
Sure. Right now, Brian is working for a company as a regional manager. He's kind of helping us oversee the 6 locations that we currently have. And one of the jobs that entails is ensuring that all of the current employees that we have at our 6 locations are upholding the alcohol and tobacco procedures we have in place at our locations. So like he said, it's not gonna jeopardize his position whatsoever, and really, him obtaining the alcohol permit would help us if we are in a pinch and like we have an employee call in and can't work their shift. He's probably not gonna be somebody that's gonna be regularly scheduled at the store working, so it's not putting yourself in a lot of risk, as far as like the police chief's concerns. It's more to cover our butts a little bit more. If we have somebody call in, he would be our guy that would go cover that shift kind of a thing. Just so you guys are aware of kind of what the capacity he would be serving for us there. So, but yeah, he has changed a lot, and you know, we're proud of how far he's come, so.
I'll, if I can clarify real quick, the police chief's review is just a recommendation, and that part of it is pretty black and white. You don't really give him any leeway at all in the review and making recommendation. All the leeway is with the city council. I'm not trying to speak for Jerry, it's just Jerry gets to look at whatever gets sent to him, he looks against the ordinance, and then, he's basically told what to do by the ordinance, so.
Right.
And in the event of a violation of this privilege to serve, that license can be revoked at any time, correct? Based on evidence
If you'd
of guilt?
approved?
Yeah.
Yeah, so further down in that ordinance, there's a couple things. It talks about the application process, and if you approve, well, then you move forward and it's approved. If it's approved, and if there are 2 violations significantly related to the activity that the license is for, you do have the ability to bring that up for consideration for a potential suspension. If you deny the license, the applicant has the ability to appeal that back to the city council, and there would be a hearing in closed session. And in closed session, you can get a little bit deeper into the issue if needed. If the applicant feels like they would like to speak more about the issue in closed session, that provides a more, I don't want to say confidential, but it's a confidential setting. Obviously, we film our meetings,
Yeah.
put them online, and there's certain things that you would want to have in open and some that you would maybe rather have in the closed session too, for everybody.
Anybody else got any questions?
What kind of precedent does this set for us, considering all the other applications we've denied based on similar criteria?
I don't recall it happening before, where there's been a reconsideration.
Not a reconsideration, but just a denial.
Well,
And if we would grant this gentleman the opportunity to have this serving license, and we go against what we historically have established as protocol,
I would guess you'd have to defend that when it occurs.
can we defend that?
Your ordinance lays out some criteria, but the problem with that criteria is that where it's black and white for the police chief, you guys have the leeway to make decisions. Our ordinance right now says that typically if you're denying, it's based on either a felony conviction or 2 offenses substantially related to the activity of either providing alcohol or alcohol related in general. I don't know, on the idea of a precedent, it's hard because a precedent sort of assumes that your decisions on more than one item are really similar. And I don't know that you would ever have someone with a record that's almost exactly the same as somebody else. So it's hard, I guess, on that, but
Yeah, but you could say though that, if you look at it from black and white perspective, if you give it to one and somebody does have something similar next, and say we didn't want to approve it, it puts us in a spot of saying, well, why'd you approve that and not this, and just puts you in a bad spot. Or if you treat it as black and white.
and an appeal in a closed session that's probably, I'm assuming that would come up at that point. That doesn't mean that you have to deny it to figure that out either, but it's really.
I think we got a
it's in
little
your
bit
court.
of difference here in the fact that obviously it's his past and he's admitting it and he's cleaned up his ways, but he's already an employee basically in charge of some of the things in other places that he's asking to do here. So,
Do you carry licenses from other communities?
I do not, this is the first one I've actually applied for.
Okay.
okay.
So you do the same job in other communities, but you don't hold a license.
Correct.
And in the same capacity, you would be going to those places if they had somebody call in and you were needed on shorthand.
Yes. Yes. However, I mean, with the, how the law is written, if there's another person on the premises.
Right.
Which we usually have a subway attached. In this one, there's the standalone subway, but usually in ours, there's a subway that's attached. And, I mean, almost everybody else that works for the companies, or the company has a liquor license, so.
And one of the things with this one is because we're new and we're just getting going, we don't have a lot of licensed applicants here. And we also aren't so established that we have a huge staff to choose from for call-ins. So that's kind of why we're looking for just a kind of a backup plan, you know, if we do have a call-in, that we were still within abiding by the law, so.
And you're gonna come in from Appleton?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too is the issue of operator's licenses. They're good for a year, so
Mhm.
it's a
Right.
decision every year. It's up for review, and I guess every year there could be potentially new councils too. So an approval or denial isn't anything more than a year, if that helps. Either way.
Anybody else got anything?
I want to say thank you for coming and speaking on behalf of yourself. That's greatly appreciated. I'm glad that you're getting your life squared away. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Anybody else? Now I'll entertain a motion on the subject.
Make a motion to deny. And it's just based off the black and whites of the
Okay.
ordinance.
Can I get a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion made and seconded to deny. Okay. We'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All in favor of the motion to deny?
Yes.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Tiebreaker then.
So we got a tie vote.
The tie vote, the tiebreaker is
Jack, right?
in the
Me.
3-3 tie.
Oh,
So what that means, they have to hold over till next month, no?
Well, we don't have a decision then, or?
6 people on the council. 3 or 4 usually votes to approve something. Right now you've got a 2-2.
2-2.
Your vote with a 3 would be still not, if you could vote, is still less than a majority of 7.
So we have to wait till next month when we hopefully have more people here.
Or potentially a special meeting in a week on another item. Not that I'm asking for that, but
another one?
double
That's
check
what it
your
means. I
ordinance.
can't break that vote.
I'm pretty certain that the ordinance says that you have to have a 3-3 tie.
I think he's right.
But in this, technically you have a tie,
Mm-hmm.
and you have 2 people absent.
I know the ordinance is better than us, most of them.
So what do we do? Go to a no decision and,
You know, you can do is Let me research that real quick. Gotta move on to the plan commission item.
Yeah,
We'll come back to this
I'm
one.
sure they would like an answer, and
I'm sorry that I don't have the answer on the 2-2 tie there.
It's okay.
Let me just I've got a feeling that it remains tied. Let me just double check that real quick. Gotta move on to the next item and
Alright.
do that. Alright.
Am I able to ask one more question really quick? Is that
Go ahead.
okay? There was like three, I think we turned in 3 applicants.
Yeah,
Is
that's
there-
next on the
There's-
Oh,
list.
they're
okay.
still on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not the next item, but they're going to be on there though.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe all those are marked as approved, aren't they, Jerry?
Mm-hmm.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, the next item is that sewer rate thing, you said 7:15.
No, the conditional use for Weyauwega Motor.
Right.
From the Finance Commission.
It's down in the
Okay,
planning commission.
right there. All right, we'll
All
go to planning commission, section G. I was looking at G down here.
Oh.
6.
You want me to make a motion? I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for Weyauwega Motors at 701 North Mill Street with requirement for a fence to remain on the western property line.
I'll second.
Motion made, seconded. Approve the conditional use permit for Weyauwega Motors that we discussed the last time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Did you have anything you want to say about it?
I'm good.
Okay.
Come on by for an oil change.
All right, I'll go to section 2, other recommend approval sign permit for Theta Care.
Thanks, folks.
Oh, we can do that one right away too?
Thanks for coming,
Well,
Severin.
thanks. I'll make a motion to approve the sign permit for Theater Care.
I'll
Motion
second
made,
that.
second. I think it's second, you got a second.
I second.
Second to approve the sign permit
You write
for
down
Theta
names
Care.
here?
All in favor, say aye.
We got it on the thing.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
You just want to rush through everything now, or you want to get it done by 7:15 or what? Wow,
Time we got.
I think I'm
Seven
not
oh
sitting
two.
there, so he just wants to get through real quick.
what's it be?
We make better time when you're not sitting here.
It's tied.
It's tight.
He can't. We have to have a 3-3 tie.
Right. For him to vote,
for him
yes.
to vote.
And even if he did vote, like I said, it's still 3, which is not a majority of 7. It's not a majority of 6 either. Because really what you have is two
Yeah,
members that are not here. Typically you don't run into it because either you'll get 3-1 or 4-0 or whatever.
So what do we do? Table it for next?
till the next council meeting.
Yeah, and I mean, the only other thing would be,
To have another meeting.
you tied.
Mhm.
If somebody would change their vote or change their mind, I mean, this motion just tied, so it's sort of cleared. If you wanted to make another motion or somebody wanted to make another one, which you probably don't want, is keep coming up with two votes if it's the same 2-2. But
Got any thoughts, Jerry?
I do.
Would you care to share them?
I remember years ago when Larry was here, I did some research on a bartender for Groucho's old place. And as soon as I ran the driving record and criminal history, I'm like, no. Well, there's always another part or story. And the person who I was not familiar with had 6 OWIs and delivery of cocaine. And it was in the 70s. Well, sometime in the late 70s and the early 80s, something like he said, life changed. Nothing happened since then. So, part of me is like, you did the crime, do the time. The other part of me is, you're on the road to recovery, you don't need to get kicked back again. The ordinance says what it says. I followed it, but
Right.
everybody's got a story, I guess, and
Well, how comfortable are you?
I'm not uncomfortable with it.
You're not uncomfortable with it?
Simply because of the high visibility. If it was, a bar or out of the way, I might have some concerns, but there's too much at risk for that entire company for
Yes.
him personally to screw up over there. And then if he did, permits are gone, fines. I mean, I don't know what kind of security and mitigation they have in place over there, but I'm guessing it's gonna be kinda high traffic. So if I was sitting where you were, that would be a tough decision for me to make.
And I based mine on just so you know that I've been doing a lot of research with drug use and alcohol use, and I've talked to judges and cops and stuff, and you know these people do need a chance, especially if they cleaned. And his last one was in 2011, and for him to come here today and talk to us shows highly of him and his character right now. And Jerry's right, everybody has a past, and sometimes you need to get past and move to the future.
And in my opinion, everybody deserves a second chance.
I just look at it also from the fact that next time that somebody has similar items on there, you know, are people gonna do the same thing?
I get that.
I look for, you know, fairness and keeping it black and white as much as possible. You know, do that in my normal job, so it's kind of second nature for me, so.
And I also look at the applicant that we had, was it last month, for the same place where Jerry accepted it and we denied it because of his charges that he had on there. So, I mean, and that was earlier, if I believe. He just recently had done it, and this is back in 2011.
Okay, so we're still tied?
You obviously have a lot of people that have faith in you, that are willing to stand up and speak for you. And yeah, it is difficult to stand before a crowd and bare your soul like standing naked Main Street. It is. I respect you very much for doing that.
I appreciate that, thank you.
The question I have, the hang-up I have, is whether in licensing, because a lot of it's dictated by state statute, whether you can break a tie with a mayoral vote and have 3 stand as a majority of 7. As I'm reading through, and I found the section that I was looking for here on my phone while we're sitting here. It says the mayor shall not vote except in the case of a tie. When the mayor does vote in case of a tie, the vote shall be counted in determining whether a sufficient number of the council has voted favorably or unfavorably. So, when there's a tie, the mayor can vote. The question that I have on my end is whether, with licensing, that's a sufficient amount to license. And the problem, well, I will just tell you that I don't know. And I can tell you that I don't know whether you can have 2 to 2 and have a 3. He can vote. That we can determine just by reading the ordinance. It's just a matter of whether 3 is enough as it relates to the operator licenses. And when I read through the operator license ordinance, I don't think I saw in there where it said, usually what it says is the majority of the council, and it intertwines whether that's the majority of everybody or a majority of whoever's there.
I guess my question is, we're gonna vote on a whole bunch of stuff here tonight, and if the majority is gonna have to count, we probably wouldn't be allowed to vote on a lot of this stuff.
Well, no,
That's only.
so it deals with
If it's
ordinances, which you have some, you have one, resolutions, which you have some, and then appointments. And what I mentioned with the license is because it's got another layer of what's allowed through state law, because it's a alcohol licensing operator function. And the fear I have is saying, yes, you can vote and approve it, and then if we find out that you approve it, and then we have to take it back because it's not a sufficient number.
We'll allow Jack to vote with a contingency that that the process we're implementing here is okay in the eyes of state law.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too, and if you wanted to,
It could always come back up then if it wasn't. We just do it again. nix it from the record and go home. Otherwise, we're gonna sit here for a while.
Right, and I apologize on not having all of it done on, when you have two people not here and then you get a 2-2 vote, so that's the scenario I haven't run through my head. We haven't had it, so I apologize, and that's my fault, I apologize.
All right,
Wouldn't have been an issue if everyone
that's clear as mud,
been
but
here. Possibly.
So I think what you could do is, so there's situations where you have a 2-2 vote, you would be allowed to vote. Now, if you vote to deny, well then then we know that you have a motion to deny. If you vote to approve it,
Well,
it
right
could be
now-
approved, but what I would do is like tomorrow
He's gotta-
morning, we would be or tonight or
Yeah.
tomorrow morning, we'd be verifying that that's enough to hold, and if it's not, either way, I'd probably contact everyone involved.
Yep.
Does that sound okay?
Yep.
sorry with me.
And if
All
we
right
have
with
to
you?
pull it back up, it's the same as leaving it a tie, I guess.
All right, I'll cast my vote in favor of it,
In favor of what?
So
issuing the
the,
license.
So you're voting
Against
nay?
against the motion.
Okay,
Nay.
that's why I was,
That's the same thing I was thinking too.
Against the motion.
okay.
so,
Now we have no motion on the floor.
No,
that is correct. So, you had a motion to deny it, it failed.
Mhm.
And now procedurally, what you would have to have then is a motion to approve. Because you can't approve it just by not denying it, if that makes sense. We're going through
Right.
probably the whole realm of every possibility here, but
right,
Yeah.
which is
Makes
not
sense
new
to
to
me.
me.
No, I'm
Okay.
following.
In here, but
So we need to make a motion to approve the operator's license for Brian James Jens with the notion that everything pans out with Jack voting on this,
well,
right?
No,
Don't change it
no,
on
you can't
me.
put that into the order. You
Yeah,
can't put
you
that into the motion.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying,
Your
but
motion has to be just to
So-
approve it.
Okay,
Go
to
ahead.
approve it.
the,
Well, who
Okay,
knows,
okay.
where we're going tonight,
Go.
everybody's adding more stuff into everything, so. So I'll make a motion
Yes.
to approve the operator's license for Brian James Jens.
and there you go.
Stop there.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded to approve those license. All in favor, say aye.
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 I'll give you an aye.
He changed aye.
I'll give it to you.
I'll go
Opposed?
nay.
Nay.
Yeah.
Now we got a 3-1 vote.
So now we're good.
I'm gonna
Good.
take the pressure off you, Jack.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
Actually, I want to
License
take off
bit.
Patrick because he
It's
was like,
just-
Oh, no, I don't have a problem, I don't have a problem saying,
Okay.
well, okay, so 3-1,
Yeah.
and it's approved then.
Yes.
approved.
Okay.
So at least he.
All right.
Well, there you
Thanks
go.
for coming.
Now you go knowing that.
Congratulations.
Sorry for the confusion, but
Good luck going
That's all right.
good
forward.
luck out there.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, you guys.
Good luck on your journey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, nice to meet you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
If you wanna relive this extraordinary moment, tune into YouTube tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let me take a break for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, do we, you
No,
wanna take a
you
quick
get
break?
2 minutes.
And then we'll
It's
call,
7:13. Yeah.
7:13, would you like to take a break? We'll call
Yeah,
John
that'd be good.
Mellors and come back.
Yeah, he's coming at 7:15 and it's,
I don't know.
Okay, so it is 7:17 and we were returning from the recess. And then we would be at item 6A,
6.
which is still one of the items we pulled to the front of the meeting. We
Must
do
be
have,
in, the first part.
we do have John Cameron from Ellers on the phone.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, John.
Hello there.
And I'll just take over. Like I think I mentioned
Just take over.
at the very beginning of the meeting. John, when we were in open session, I had mentioned the motion or the recommendation that's before the council is to recommend increasing the volumetric rate for 2016 sewer rates by 2% as of January 1st, 2016. And what I had mentioned was that that was the recommendation at committee, but the recommendation in the sewer rate study was more complex than that with the volumetric rates, the meter, or the fixed rates, and it's more of a package in order to
Right.
meet our financing for next year on the interim financing.
Correct. So the sewer rate study that you have before you had a two-step rate increase with a recommended rate increase for both the fixed rates that's based on the size of the meter as well as the volumetric rate for 2016 and then another step increase going into 2017. We would recommend that you proceed with all of the recommended increases to both the fixed and the volumetric rates that was shown in the sewer rate study for 2016. And the reason simply for that is it's really a required step in order to ensure that you have adequate coverage on the interim financing that you've issued earlier this year for the wastewater treatment facility expansion. So going back to this summer when that debt was issued, part of the discussion was to make sure that you provide adequate coverage on the interest payment that would be paid in 2016. It also just steps rates closer to where they need to be for 2017. And I know that going into 2017, there's hopefully much discussion with Agri-Pure on the potential renegotiating of the agreement to be more favorable to the city. But in the meantime, the rate increases for 16 really are necessary to ensure that you have enough revenue to make the interim financing interest payment for 16, as well as to have the adequate coverage on that debt service payment for 2016. So with that, I'll stop talking and kind of turn it over for any questions you might have.
Anybody got any questions? Jack down here.
Well, clears it up. My initial understanding that was working towards our long-term financing with the DNR, so I guess it's good to at least have that cleared out, so that way we know that it's necessary for the interim financing payment as well.
But additionally, it is a step towards the Clean Water Fund loan too.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's both.
Yeah, well, or until we can get agreements rearranged and whatnot.
If you were to move forward with the rates as shown for 16, for both the fixed and the volumetric, the increase to the average residential customer would be about $2 a month.
And that's page 3 of 5 in your packet. You'll see on residential, based on, it's got 3 estimated usages per month, and it shows at 2917 gallons per month, you're paying $33. The proposed would be $35 per month, just on your sewer charge. And the volumetric rate, when we talk about that right now, it's $2.94 per thousand. The reason why 2% is key is because that's all that's allowed through the Agri-Pure service agreement. Between now and 2017, we can only increase it 2%, which is about 5.5 cents. Go up to about $2.99 or $2.99.8 per thousand gallons of sewer. Additionally, one of the things we talked about, there's 3 options we have in looking to cover the debt on the treatment plant, which is through the Clean Water Fund. One of the options is that we're carrying out right now is a renegotiation with Agri-Pure on the service agreement. So we're working on that. The other option at this point to consider is the rates in general, and there are, as part of our agreement, there's an allowable increase that you can take. So there's 2 things we're working on. We're still working with Agri-Pure on the agreement that we have, so that's still something that's coming.
And that can clear it up for the future, so that we don't have to do the 2017 proposed.
But for now, if we would recommend these rates, this would solidify our commitment financially to cover our debt, correct? Without
Yeah, we're looking
having
at,
to look elsewhere. This plan here put in place
for next year,
for next year,
and we're
correct?
looking at, I think it's $252,000 in debt payments next year on the,
Yep.
it's just interest on that, I believe, John? Or is it principal and interest in
that's
November, I
that's
think?
the interest payment. That would be the interest payment on the interim financing, and that would be paid before you would close on the permanent financing through the Clean Water Fund program. So that would be an expense that will be paid in 16, and these rates are ensure that you have adequate capacity to make that payment. Going into the future, when next year when you close, either late next year or early 17, when you close on the Clean Water Fund loan for the, which would be the permanent financing vehicle for the wastewater treatment facility expansion, we estimate the debt service payments each year are going to be just over $400,000 a year, of which, per the existing agreement, Agri-Peer would pay directly outside of their rates, direct payment of about $106,000.
So to make a motion on this, we just have to, could we just say off the 2016 sewer rates based on the Ellers study?
The Elder's recommendation, you could do that.
Recommendation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do that.
Okay. Make a motion then to change our 2016 sewer rates to the recommended rates by Ellers.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion made and seconded to change the sewer rates as per Ellers Corporation. For John?
Recommendation,
Recommendation.
yeah.
Got somebody else got any questions there yet?
No.
Cotton?
Nope.
Any? We'll take a vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Very
all we
good.
need.
Well, that is approved then. Thank you, John. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, John.
Sounds good.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas to you.
Merry
all.
Christmas.
Merry
You
Christmas.
too. Thanks.
Take care.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
bye.
All right.
For two time.
Good news is we know how to handle it now, so it's.
Yeah.
Now we'll go back up to
Guess I can run down the Public Works.
committee.
All right, for Public Works, I'll make a motion to approve pay request number 6 to Murin for $345,070.31 contingent on receipts of lien waivers.
Motion made,
I'll second
seconded.
it.
And I believe we do have the lien waivers, don't we?
There's one, so there's a lien waiver in your packet.
Mm-hmm.
That is the lien waiver, that's Myron's lien waiver to us saying that they don't have a lien. But what we're looking for is with these waivers, we go back to last month to make sure Myron paid all the people who work for them. And I believe there were one or two that Cedar had thought were coming. So they'll be there. It's just procedurally,
Yep.
I don't cut the check until they come in if you approve it, so.
Okay.
And we haven't had a problem. It's usually been a day or two right after you approve it, so.
Motion made, seconded. No more questions?
We had motion, Nadowski second.
I mean,
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next, I'll make a motion for a letter of authorization with Cedar Corp on the municipal parking lot reconstruction for 2016.
So they have a, oh, go ahead. You got a motion. I got a note on that.
Yep. And those drawings are.
I'll second
I
it.
got a motion made and seconded to approve the letter of
Authorization.
authorization to Cedar Corp for a parking lot.
So there were some additional items that we had talked about at the committee as including in there. And the additional items were the West Main Street sidewalk extension, to take a look at a design for that. There are 3 manhole rings on West Main that the DOT had reviewed as part of their review of 110. Advised that we have to get those repaired. So those 3 could be added on and tacked on and bid out with this project. And then the other item was on East Alfred Street, there's those concrete pads that are busted up, and what we could do is include it with the other work to be done with the parking lot. And what Cedar had mentioned was that to do that work, if you wanted to add it in there, they didn't have a cost, I don't think, at the meeting, but they do have, administration is $2,100 to $2,400 for those items to be added in. And then the design and bidding services is $2,900 to $3,500. What they would do if you approved, is they would add those side projects as alternates. So we'd bid out the parking lot. After it's designed, they would put these in as alternates, and then when you go to award parking lot construction, you can pick and choose which projects you want to get done. But to get them as alternates and get them bid out, Cedar is proposing that those additional services would be on there. So if you'd be willing to put that on there, that's also for consideration. I don't think we voted because we had it as two separate agenda items at Public Works.
Yeah, I thought,
We recommended the one.
we talked about doing it all when we did the parking lot, but we didn't talk about an additional cost for that, I guess, from the Cedar perspective.
I guess one of the
Just
reasons
something
we
they
were
do
doing
all
that,
the
because
time.
if you get a contractor in there to do, like, say, the concrete work,
Mhm.
bid the whole works instead of separate bid for each
Well,
job.
I understand that. That sidewalk, is that in the TIF district? The one that-
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
they're on the,
Yeah.
on West
I
Main
just-
Street.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay,
The sidewalk on East Alfred is busted up.
Yep.
And the county doesn't carry the same type of warranties that we do when they put in that kind of work. So what the county had said was that they want us to repair it. They will reimburse us then for their share of it.
that's
So-
fine, that's fine. I just
That's
wanted
how
to make
we
sure
go.
that that wasn't the TIF over there, because
Okay, everybody understand it?
all right.
And so that's
So
the
then
question is,
I
do you
will-
want those added or
I
included
will
with there too?
adjust or amend my motion to include
Okay.
our alternative projects as well.
and I'll still second it.
Patrick just had to slow us down. We were moving too fast.
Motion made. In section 2, recommended letter of authorization with the amendments. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Guess I should ask
Motion
one thing.
carried.
Are we looking at A or B?
We are looking at B, but it's going to be a modified B.
Mm-hmm.
A was just the city's parking lot, leaving the gravel buffer.
Yep.
B was take that gravel buffer and turn it into a paved green space sidewalking area. And B, as was presented to the committee, also included incorporating the bank's
Right.
parking lot. The bank had indicated that they would not be interested in that, so they want us to still cover up that graveled area. And so that black scratch I
What
put
are
in there.
these here? These are the ones I'm questioning.
Okay,
Yeah, that's their-
those are my own scratches.
Don't scratch
As
that.
we talk about, whether we wanted to make that green buffer a full length, or if
Okay.
you wanted to section that off so people
Okay.
could park with trailers. But we're leaning towards a B, but the Public Works Committee had scheduled like a public hearing January 11th at 5 o'clock to invite downtown business owners down to talk about what
There's
that
an
looks
issue with
like.
trucks getting in and out and whatnot.
Does that help?
Yeah, that helps a
So
lot.
they're aiming towards a modified B,
Okay,
which is to stay in the
Alright.
city section and then ask people what they think
okay.
at that meeting.
Get a trolley, you'll park in the bank's parking lot.
Yeah. All right,
All right, next I'll make a,
we didn't vote on it yet.
Yeah, we did.
Did we? Oh, you just asked after. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
all right, make a motion for a letter of authorization for the wastewater treatment plant property certification survey map with Cedar Corp. And essentially, that basically takes all those little widgets of property and makes them one parcel.
Was that all in your motion?
I'm adding that.
I'm gonna second it right away before he changes his mind.
All right, it's two.
I know.
For
I'll
informational
second it.
purposes.
I think we all know what that is. We're gonna get the land we own down there, and when we plan to sell this, Agri-Pier, get it all surveyed, so everybody knows exactly where it is.
It's all cleaned up.
Got a motion made, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, next make a motion to approve 2016 consultative agreement with Cedar Corp.
Got a motion? You got a second?
I don't know.
There's a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But, okay. The question I had was, every year we have the consultative agreement with Cedar Corp. We have two agreements with them. One is consultative. For $6,300, they answer the phone, they come to meetings, they do miscellaneous things for us. The other agreement we have with them is project related, so that they don't just get all of our projects, but we can assign projects to them. And we haven't bid out engineering when we bid out construction, we just assign it to Cedar. And as you're all aware, we had gone through insurance, attorneys, garbage. I think there's another one, I don't remember off the top of my head. assessors we were going to do and then we didn't have to, so that's one. But the city's purchasing policy had said that those types of services would be reviewed every 3 years. So either bid out, RFQ'd for quotes or qualifications. And I think what we had found is that we just didn't do that. And so we started to do that. One of the questions was, when would you do engineering? And I think it was slated for this winter. And we had talked at committee about whether we do that now with our City Hall and treatment plant projects already being assigned to Cedar Corp until next April or May. Or whether, when do you want to review that service is really what the main question is. With that, our consultative agreement expires at the end of the month. And this is the agreement for, like I said, you pick them up, you give them a call, they come to meetings, that type of thing. What the committee had generally agreed to was approve the consultative agreement for the whole year, but as soon as these projects are done, develop a process while they're completing, and then roll out what would probably be a request for qualifications process, because you can't really solicit bids on this, and you can't really get quotes on it. You sort of have to figure out what are you shopping out, put it out there, and then through the summer, complete your review. And what the committee had suggested is that review then would select an engineer to start January 1st, 2017. So with that, that's the background on the consultative agreement. That's the recommendation then.
I think it would only make sense to keep them until the projects are
Well,
done, and then,
this really has nothing to do with those projects. The consultant agreement,
No,
doesn't have to
it
do with the
doesn't.
projects, because they're already locked in for those projects, they're hired for those projects. This is just for Thad to answer questions about our water and sewer laterals and such. So I would like to see in your motion that you will, this summer, right in the motion, drawing something up to put it out there. So that you're bound, you now cannot back out from putting it up to bid.
I'm fine with that, because that was my intent anyways.
Right, but I just wanted
And I
in
made
record that we're
that
gonna do
clear,
that,
so.
because this needs to be bid out.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's never gonna be a good time, because we always are gonna have stuff going
Right.
on. So
Right.
that's why,
So would that be, let's see, second quarter, third quarter? Should I say a review, a definition and a review in this second and third quarter?
July 1st.
I think what we should be doing is, if you want to take a look at like summer,
Mhm.
I think starting next month or like January, February, we should start to be talking about what are
What
we
it
actually
is.
doing, or what are we
Mhm.
looking for? Because like with Cedar, they have engineers, architects, they have financing people, and so there's not, all the other companies might have engineers. They might just submit an
There's a
engineering,
number
some
of
of them might
companies
be
that
putting,
there
there's a
are-
whole bunch of them
That carry
that do different
everything.
things, right? So
Yeah,
it would,
so we gotta
we'll
define
have to
what we want out of that
define the
company, too.
parameters on what you're looking for, and then I would think the intent then would be to roll out whatever that is in summer, and that just assumes that
Right,
in the end of winter, early spring, you're gonna have to be defining that.
right. I just want something, I want a time thing that's saying you will be
Yep.
doing this by then.
okay. Motion on the floor, have you got
We
it?
have a motion from Nadowski.
And what's the motion say?
The motion has a dash right now.
Just
It is to approve the letter of authorization, or no, the consultative agreement
Yep.
with Cedar Corporation for 2016. Did you say that, I think you said you wouldn't have a problem throwing it in there, but it's up to you.
I guess I just don't know how would I word it so that we have a realistic deadline, I guess, in there. So does that mean that we have to have,
Well, even that says that it must be bid out.
must have
You
a,
must,
I don't know that I'd say
Contingent-
bid, because it's
Well,
no, I would just
must
say,
and bid, because I don't think it's gonna
so
be
if
bid.
I
think
amend
it's
my
gonna be-
motion, I would just add on to the end that we,
Be reviewed.
there has to be a review and a selection of engineering companies prior to,
Competitive review, how's that?
Competitive
Competitive
review.
review
Yep.
prior to 2017.
prior to, let's say, October 1st. That way, it's right after the summer, so we should have hopefully gotten all our research and work done, and then that way we can make a selection.
I'll second that then, with that in there.
I'm good with that. That's my intent.
Okay.
anyway, so.
I know,
So-
we can't, but I
Yeah,
just
no, I'm
want to
good
make
with
sure.
that.
Let me just clarify now. By October 1st,
So in other words,
You
if we
want-
do the review during the summer, and put out the RFQs,
Yeah.
we should be able to have a selection no later than October 1st. And I think sounds reasonable. Does it sound reasonable to you, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
checking on the motion itself, just to make sure I got the right one down. No, I'm with you on how we're gonna do it and when. I should
Okay.
say when, and then we're gonna talk
Okay.
about it. Just wanna make sure I got your motion right, so.
All right.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next, make a motion to approve adding a street light to East Alfred Street sidewalk east of South Lincoln Street. And then the note on this is that it's no cost to the city as long as we keep it for 5 years.
No
The
no
power
upfront
company
cost.
put
No
Okay.
upfront cost.
Power company.
I'll second it.
Yeah. Motion made second to add a street light on East Alfred Street. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And
Motion
it's,
carried.
it's on the third pole from the intersection, just so that we
It's
clarify.
That was
just
a
really dark
request.
down there.
Yeah.
Requested
It is.
from somebody, so.
Yeah, and the good news is if we wanna add more, this was a citizen request on this one, if you wanted to add more, knowing that it's already wired up. It's like $15 a month you have to commit to for 5 years or something like that, which is
Yeah.
standard.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, we're done with that one. Now we'll move to the Finance Committee.
All
Keith, you're
right.
still up.
Make a motion to approve C15 change order number 3 for Immel. And the note on this one would be the numbers look really big, but it's because they're pulling out the, all of the, I guess.
owner direct purchase materials
Yes. And so that ends up saving us, I believe it was like 27,000. Right around
and
there.
sales tax, yeah, because they're gonna bill it direct to us, not to Immel.
Right.
And the catch in this, which Keith is referring to, is the fact that we're pulling out $572,000 out of the contract, and that's the materials and sales tax. So the change order starts with a 570,000 plus credit, and then it adds $27,000 worth of additions, and there are, I believe, 7 construction bulletins that we ran through line by line at finance. And then the net result is that it's a credit of 544,000 on the contract. But as part of the pay request for the owner direct purchases, then you'll start to see, we're gonna start paying on that 540-some thousand dollars that's left.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made seconded to approve C-15, change order number 3 for Immel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next I'll make a motion to approve the pay request C15 number 5 to Immel for $234,390.43 contingent upon the lien waivers being received.
I'll second it.
I think we got them, didn't we?
We just got an email that we think we have them, but there's a question on the amounts because we hold back a 10% retainage. So when Immel requests $234,000, there's $23,000 that we're holding back to pay at the end. We ask with the lien waivers to make sure that the subcontractors have been fully paid. Immel holds back a retainage as well. And so the question that actually just came through my email tonight was, like on a $35,000 bill, $39,000 was what was supposed to be paid, but there's a retainage there. We're just clarifying that. But yeah, otherwise we have them, it's just a matter of reviewing them. So,
Okay.
but I would still keep that in the,
Yep.
the vote.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Everybody got any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve pay requests for C15 owner direct purchase material for $62,477.02.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded.
This is just the materials to date then on the City Hall
That's
project.
what we just
so-
discussed, that's materials we pay direct for now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next I'll make a motion to approve the Phase 2 network server upgrade to Heartland for $54,596.35. And then the only note on that is is what we discussed from prior. We had our first part to get us in here and then the second part to complete it.
I'll second that.
I think the number actually stayed the same
Went up
within like a
$1,300.
$1,000. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really close, so. Mr. Council President.
Motion made and seconded to approve Phase 2 network for server upgrade from Heartland. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. Next, I'd like to make a motion to modify the city ordinances to increase the NSF fees to 25 and special assessment letter fee to 30 effective January 1st, ordinance 25-7. And then the only note on this is basically getting it up to more so where it covers the cost of the city to actually enforce those ordinances.
It's basically a bad check charge, so.
Yeah, the two of them, the one on NSF fees, the city's approved by the PSC to charge $25, but the ordinance was 20. And so this matches those up
Right.
because the PSC is a more strict review
Right.
and it's more. And with special assessment letters, it's going from 20 to 30 then. I apologize, I don't think you have a copy of the actual ordinance
No.
in the packet there, but what it is it's replacing, you just put those numbers into
Yep.
the fee schedule, which is section A600. So,
Has that been seconded?
No, feel
Somebody?
free.
Motion made and seconded.
I'll second that.
Second to increase the NSF fees and special assessment fees. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, next I'll make a motion to approve checks 31879 through 31933 totaling $905,000, 502.87 cents. And the monthly financial statements.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to pay this month's bills. All in favor, say aye.
roll
Aye.
call on this
Roll
one.
call.
Yep. Rasmussen,
Aye.
Appleby,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Nadowski.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Now, we go to C, police and fire. We gotta go way down to Nick.
Yep. No action for council.
Public health,
No action for council.
recreation.
I'd like to make a motion to approve increasing the park shelter rental fees to $55 for the new shelter and $45 for all the other ones in 2016.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve or increase shelter fees in the park. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public property. Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion to deny the request to sell road right-of-way extension on South Harlan Street.
I'll second that.
I think you all know where that is. Motion made and seconded to deny the sale of roadway on Harlan Street. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Number
I need
two, I'll
some-
just say, so you have a recommendation from the special public property and purchasing meeting of 12/21/15. They did meet at 6:15 tonight. The motion that came out was a motion, Rasmussen, second Appleby, to recommend to authorize the city administrator to negotiate the purchase of property on Old Mill Street. And that had passed, those were the two that were in attendance, so those two voted aye. That's the recommendation then, would be to authorize city administrator to negotiate the purchase of property on Old Mill Street. We're buying property, whereas we've been selling in that area.
Okay. Drop down to new business.
No, wait, we gotta
We
actually vote
don't,
on
yeah,
that.
so there has to be an actual motion then here.
Oh,
I will make a motion from the special public property and purchasing meeting of 12/21/15 to authorize the city administrator to negotiate the purchase of property on Old Mill Street.
I'll second that.
All
Got
in
it.
favor?
motion made and seconded to authorize the city administrator to negotiate purchase of property. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
What are we waiting for?
We're waiting for Jack. He's waiting for
Oh, I'm
Patrick.
sorry.
No, that's okay, that's
That
right.
was, he's right now.
Right, hey, I'll just throw on there too, I'm doing double time on this meeting here.
His shorthand, he
Shorthand.
need his Becky sometime.
Right, well, Becky's on a bus on her way home from Florida tonight, so. And then just to put that out there too, there are some, I do have some direction on what to do with that, but for competitive or bargaining reasons,
Right.
we won't put those out there for now. The final approval on the purchase though, if we're successful, is going to come through, either be reported to city council or to have you vote on it, so. Okay?
Real fine.
Okay.
Okay. Now, we'll go to new business, and I have to go down to B, because we already went through A. Approve operator's license application for Christie, Michelle and Sean Metaxa for Weyauwega Travel.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve operator's license for this too, for Weyauwega Travel Plaza. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approve resolution 576, a resolution to appoint election inspectors and chief inspectors.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 576.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 576.
Roll call then on the resolutions.
Roll call.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Appleby?
Aye.
Gunderson?
Aye.
And Nadowski?
Motion carried. Approve resolution 577, a resolution adopting the Waupaca County All Hazmat Mitigation Plan.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 577.
Motion
second
made and
that.
seconded.
So it is, yep, so it's, we did send a copy of it through Google. We do have a
Yep.
copy that's been here. It's the draft plan. Essentially, it lays out all the hazardous situations, all the storm events, all the hazard events that may happen. What the emergency management is asking for is that all communities sign off on the resolution to adopt one county plan. And I did read
Yep.
through it. It's complete, I will say, so. And then we would have a roll call vote on that too.
Okay, roll call.
Nadowski?
Aye.
Gunderson?
Aye.
Appleby?
Aye.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Motion carried. E, proposal for 216 property insurance coverage through the municipal property insurance company.
So, 7E, there's a note in here, this is recommended from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, which is our insurance. League of Wisconsin Municipalities Mutual Insurance, not to be confused with the regular League of Wisconsin Municipalities. There's been talk about the local government property insurance fund over the years with the state budget. And there is an update, the last update, I think, that the executive director of the LWMMI had put in there. I believe he's the executive director. It's Dennis Tweedale. He had come to our meeting, I believe, when we showed that DVD on ethics and that. But he does have an update on what's happening with the property insurance fund. The answer is that they are going to sunset that fund. The rates are being increased. And the note that he has in here is the fund itself is going to cease to do business other than paying claims as of January 1st, 2019. And hence there's a highlight in here that we are moving as fast as possible to create a competitively priced alternative to LGPIF. What we have had here now is the League of Wisconsin Municipal Mutual Insurance with, I believe, CivMIC, which is Cities, Villages Municipal Insurance. 3 of these organizations had created their own property fund, and it's called MPIC, Municipal Property Insurance Company. They've made a proposal to us, and it's a 2-part proposal. One is our property insurance has been about $14,000, $15,000 for our property. The MPIC proposal for 2016 is a proposal at $18,361. That's the premium. What they're asking for and what LWMMI is recommending is that we approve that. So one motion would be to take that up to approve MPIC's quote. The second item then would be a vote, and it's essentially, they call it a resolution. Really what I have to do is fill out this sheet here as a certification. You have to have a majority of the council vote to withdraw from the local government property insurance fund. So what they're asking is you approve the MPIC quote, and if that's approved, you then vote to withdraw from LGPIF. So those are the next 2 items.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now that lasts till 2019, you said?
Well, it's essentially what they've done to it. It's going to cease to do business as it exists today as of January 1st, except for paying some claims.
Okay. I just thought I heard 2019, that's what.
January 1st of 2019, but what they're recommending is to move to MPIC.
Right.
No, and they do have, there's a note in here on how many communities have switched. We're at the very end here and getting in, but it's to get in before the end of the year. So.
All right, I'll make a proposal, or make a motion to approve the proposal for the 2016 property insurance coverage through Municipal Property Insurance Company.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded for proposal 216 property insurance coverage. You want, don't need roll call on that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
I'll save you, Jack. I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 578, a resolution to withdraw from the local government property insurance fund.
I'll second that.
Good.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Nadowski,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Appleby,
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Go down to my report. I haven't got much other to use that are up for re-election. Make sure you get your papers in. I turned mine in for county board today, and the clerk said some people are getting pretty lazy behind it because all of a sudden the holidays are here and they gotta be in by what, January 5th or something, so.
Yep, it's the first Tuesday.
And you're working on my refund.
I'm working on your refund, yep.
All right.
Police chief.
You go to the administrator, unless you don't want to hear from me, but that's okay.
Flew right past.
I'll go quick.
Where's that
super
on
quick,
here?
Super quick.
We didn't get anything to say.
No, that's
It's getting
okay.
close to 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
Trying to defend you a little bit.
I may turn into a pumpkin after 8, so watch for that. But real quick, we did have the auditors in last week, and in the 3 days they did their preliminary field work. They achieved everything they wanted to achieve, and the issues we've had over the last couple of years with our software is that they've come in for 3 days, and then they've come in for additional work too. But after the 3 days they were here, we still haven't transitioned to our new software yet, which is still in line for January. But after the 3 days, they did say, we will see you the first week in March. So that's a good thing, and it's kudos to Becky and Katrina staying up on entries, receipts, checks and balances, so that's a good thing. To add on the deadlines for filing papers, the deadline if you do not wish to run, so the declaration of non-candidacy this year is December 25th, but because it's a holiday, it moves until December 28th. The reason why that's important is because that's the deadline for incumbents to file non-candidacy. If they file after that, then the deadline for nomination papers gets extended 72 hours then. And I think we had that this last spring where it did get extended. And then obviously we've been busy with construction. We're waiting on City Hall until we can get the stairs installed before we do a tour. Otherwise, it's kind of interesting the way it's been progressing. It's going along pretty well. The treatment plant, the same thing too. So, and thank you. A lot of stuff tonight, a lot of things that we did get approved, so I do appreciate that. That's it.
Okay, now Jerry forgot what he was gonna say, but
No, just, the guys and gals trained, at the school on Wednesday, we're now all trained to use and inject Narcan. School nurse put on the training, so we all went over, drew up a dose, did an injection. It's kind of the carts before the horse here, because the policy from the attorney came back after we scheduled the training, so he approved that, so at the next committee meeting, we'll be approving the policy, and then we'll be putting it into service.
which one he had an OD first so that they could practice on it? No, that's a good thing. We hear about it at the county too. That's, it's already been used several times already. That it works, saves lives, so it's a very good thing to have. Thanks, Jerry. Set the meetings.
So right off the top of our head here, we have the Public Works Committee. Monday, January 11th, they've set a public hearing on the parking lot design for 5 o'clock. The regular meeting to start at 5:30.
We got finance right after it. don't we?
At 6:30 or immediately after. Yep, those are both on Monday, January 11th.
So I'll have rec and police on the 12th. Starting
Those are
at,
the two you've kept together, right?
yep, starting at 6.
Which one?
Rec,
Rec.
and then police. We need an ordinance meeting.
I believe we've had public property and the ordinance committee together.
On Wednesday.
Do you
I
wanna,
can't on the 13th. I'm in Madison.
oh, for leadership?
Yep.
And we are going to be 4th,
That's
the
a-
11th, the
that's
18th
final.
is council, so January 18th would be council, so it'd be those, either the week of the 4th or the week of the
Okay, what
11th.
about the 6th?
I can do the 6th.
Do the
Scott,
6th
can
for
you
him?
do the 6th?
Hmm?
And does it matter which one first? Are we going public property first?
That's usually a faster one.
6th?
Is that okay for you?
Public Works, Finance, Rec, Police. Those are your 6 committees. The Plan Commission, I don't believe there's any items out there right now, but that's kind of an at will or at, as it pops
Okay.
up. I think we should be good.
Okay,
Okay,
Case council, 18th or 25th?
it is the 18th. Council, January 18th, 6:30. Put that in the notes too.
such other matters as authorized by law. I don't know of anything else we wanna discuss.
No.
I entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to 19.85 Wisconsin statute conferring with legal counsel for governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation which is or likely to become involved. The reason for this closed session is general contractor claim related to municipal building project construction and also development agreement for TIF 4. Council may choose to reconvene in open session after the completion of closed session in order to take action on items discussed.
I'll make a motion to go in closed session.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to go into closed session. Roll call.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Appleby?
Aye.
Gunderson?
Aye.
Nadowski?
Aye.
8:01.